My name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for GRE. We have been solving GRE math problems out of this book here, the official guide to the revised GRE, the second edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 222. Please turn to it. Page number 222, problem number 8. This problem that you see there, these problems rather, all the problems that you see there on page number 222 are the exact same problems that appeared in the first edition of the revised GRE. We have already solved every single problem from this book. We're just redoing them. If you're interested in watching the solution to this problem at a slower pace, you will find the original solution on day number 83. Right now we're going to go at a little bit of a faster pace. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Besides, these are pretty straightforward and simple questions. The question simply is, which of the following statements are true? So let's look at each of the statement here. A says negative 5 is less than 3.1. Of course, a negative 5, a negative number, of course, is going to be less than a positive number. That's true. As I said, they are too silly, they are too simple. The square root of 16, we are told, equals 4, which is also true. C says 7 divided by 0 equals 0. Now that is not true. Any number divided by 0 is undefined. How do you spell undefined? It's undefined. Any number, you pick any number at all, doesn't matter positive number, negative number, odd number, whatever it is, any number divided by 0 is undefined, it is infinity. Why is that? Do you know very quickly? Why is that any number divided by 0 is going to be infinity? It's a very simple reason. Very simple, very straightforward reason. For example, 5 divided by 1, of course, is 5. What about 5 divided by 0.1? That will be 50. What about 5 divided by 0.01? That will be 500. What about 5 divided by 0.001? That will be 5,000. What about 5 divided by 0.01? This will be 50,000, and so on and so forth. As the bottom gets smaller and smaller and smaller, this number gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And therefore, by the time the bottom number approaches 0, this entire quantity explodes. It explodes and it becomes such a huge number that we are unable to define it. We do not have such a number. We have no name for it. It is called infinity. It has no name for it in the sense that it's not a numerical value. It's infinity. It's undefined. One does not go around saying infinity plus infinity is 2 infinities. It doesn't work that way. Do you understand? There is no such thing as a 0.3 infinity. Infinity is infinity. It's not a defined number. Which is why, as the bottom begins to get closer and closer to 0, any number divided by something very close to 0 is going to be an extremely large number, so large in fact that as it gets close to 0, the whole thing explodes. It becomes infinity. This is not true. 7 divided by 0 is not going to be 0. 7 times 0 would have been 0. 7 divided by 0 is infinity, not 0. D says 0 is less than absolute value of negative 1/7. Now, absolute value of any quantity, even if it's negative, absolute value of any quantity is a positive number. That's what absolute value means. And of course, 0 is going to be less than a positive number. That is true. Let's move on then to E. E says 0.3 is less than 1.3. But 1.3 we know is 0.33. And of course 0.3 is going to be less than 0.33. A third of a dollar is 30 cents. A third of a dollar is 33 cents. A third of a dollar is 33 cents. But a 3/10 of a dollar is only 30 cents. So of course 30 cents is less than 33 cents. That is true. F says negative 1 raised to 87 equals negative 1, and that is also true. A negative number a negative number raised to an odd power remains negative. A negative number raised to an odd power will remain negative. A negative 5 raised to negative 5 raised to a 37 is going to be a negative number. It's going to be a very large number, but it's going to be a negative quantity nonetheless. It's going to be a very large negative quantity. Negative 5 raised to negative 37 is going to be less than 0. Similarly here, negative 1 raised to 87, even though it's a very large power, especially in this case because it's only 1, it just switches between negative 1 and positive 1. Every time the power is even, it becomes positive 1. Every time it's odd, it becomes negative 1. So this is a negative quantity, and therefore, of course, negative, right here, it's negative 1. That is true. G says square root of a negative 3 squared is less than 3. The square root of negative 3 is positive 9. And square root of positive 9 equals 3. And that is not less than 3. That is not true. G is false. Let's move on then. In H, we have 21 raised to 21 divided by 28, and if we divide top and bottom by 7, we get 3 over 4, which is exactly what they tell us. It is 3/4, which is true. In I, we are told that negative of a negative 23, absolute value of negative 23 is 23. Well, absolute value of negative 23 is positive 23. So this quantity is positive 23, but then we have a negative value in front of it. And a negative times the positive 23 does not equal 23. This quantity will equal negative 23. Negative 23 does not equal positive 23. This is false. Let's move on. In answer choice J says one half is greater than one half is greater than 1/17, which of course is true. One half of anything is going to be more than 1/17. In other words, if you think of it this way, a half of a 17, we're making too much fuss about nothing. I don't know why I started this thing. Half of 17 is 16 is 8, so it's 8.5. But a 17th of 17 is just 1. So that is greater. I don't know why I had to do that. 59 raised to 3 times 59 squared. Now we know that when the bases are the same, you can combine them together and we add the exponents. So this is 59 raised to 5th. 59 raised to 5th power. And we are told that that equals to 59 raised to 6th, which of course is not true. That is false. And finally, the last one, which is negative of square root of 25. Negative of square root of 25, we are told, is less than negative 4. The square root of 25 is 5, and negative of 5 is less than negative 4. And that is true. That's all. Like I told you from the very beginning, these are very silly questions, but we have to cover them because they are there. What we're going to do tomorrow, on the other hand, is important because we're going to do several percentage problems in addition to the ones that you see there on problem number 9. We're going to do a couple of more problems to get some practice as to how to tackle percentage problems in a very efficient way. If you try to do it in a very classical way, it takes too long. So tomorrow we'll learn how to do percentage problem in a more straightforward manner. Alright? I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.